Alright guys, here we go. Going into game number 3 between LiquidTLO and MVPTaiLs, guys. Currently, Tails leads this best of 7 series 2-0, taking the first game, which was played on Cloud Kingdom. Second game, which was just played on, it was like a 40-minute game, so back and forth. But TLO did come out victorious. Actually, no, not TLO. Tails came out victorious in that game. So he leads it 2-0, man. So 2 more games for Tails, and he is going to win this best of 7. But you know what? I have high hopes for TLO. You know, if you guys didn't even watch the GSL Code A qualifiers, please tell me you watched that, because TLO was so close to advancing to Code A. His style was so... it was just a crazy style. I mean, I even remember a game which was played on Daybreak. He went for roach drops into the natural, into the main, into the third. I felt like he was the medevac of the Terran, just dropping everywhere. This is sort of the multitasking of TLO, and his mechanics are just, they're really top notch, to be honest. But is he gonna go ahead and come back in this best of 7? I have high hopes, and I know that he can definitely do it. But let's go ahead and introduce our players, guys. In the bottom right position, going to be spawning as the orange Protoss player from the team MVP. We do have MVPTaiLs. In the upper left position, going to be his opponent from the team Liquid, of course, a fan favorite, a fan team, just an overall great person. We do have LiquidTLO. Alright, so Tails just sticking to what he knows best. It looks like he's going to go for a Forge opening, very similar to the previous game, even going to go ahead and cannon. Alright, Tails, man. This is the tale of Tails. He just cannons, which is, it's okay. I mean, it's not it's a cheesy way, I guess you can say. It's not a bad way of playing. Of course, you want to win whichever way you can. And this is sort of what he's been doing in all the matches. Game 1, Game 2, even here in Game 3, just gonna go for a very quick cannon rush. And TLO, is he gonna be on top of it? He went hatch first again. I don't think he was expecting this, of course, given the fact he went hatch first. But his pool should finish very, very soon. Meanwhile, he's in fact great decision overall by TLO, just canceling that natural expansion. Going for a very quick third here on the right side of the map. So nothing really bad at this point from TLO, even though his natural is going to be dead for some time. He should eventually clean it up, although it is a little bit annoying to have to deal with this early on in the game. But in Tails' base, where's the expansion, Tails? Tails is going to expand, I guarantee you. 400 minerals, he's going to expand. Actually, no, he's just going to cannon the third of TLO. Tails is not giving up at all with these cannons. If it doesn't work... if it works, whatever, I'm just going to cannon everywhere and it's going to win me the game. But this is actually very annoying. Now, the thing that's good about this is he's forcing links and he's forcing TLO to go ahead and cancel hatcheries. But the bad thing is he's investing all of his resources, not able to go ahead and expand for himself and his natural, of course. But TLO this time is not going to let that happen in his third expansion. Hatchery is going to be up here very soon, immediately going to kill the probe. Actually going to kill the pylon very quickly for TLO. Roach Horn on its way for TLO. Great thought process through this. Going to try to go for a Roach timing. Yeah, this is going to be a Roach timing from TLO. Meanwhile, the expansion is now finished for Tails. Both gases have been taken in the main base of the Protoss player. Now the question, what is Tails going to follow this up with? He can go for a timing. He can even go for Stargate. Stargate can be good on this map. It's really all going to come down to what Tails is scouting, but Tails is just cannoning. That's Tails, man. I have nothing else to say about Tails except that he's just cannoning every single game. But the good thing that TLO has is his Roach Horn is completed. We are going to see roaches are now going to be in production for TLO. 1 roach, okay, there we go. We're going to see a bunch more roaches being built now for TLO. So 4 roaches on the way for the Protoss player. More cannons coming up for Tails. Meanwhile, Cybercore is now being built for MVPTaiLs. Nexus is almost going to complete now for the Protoss player. And I wouldn't be surprised if he follows up with a blink timing. This is sort of the game that we saw in game number 1, where he went for a very similar cannon opening, followed it up by a blink timing with a bunch of zealots and sentries. This can be very good on the map, and this is the hard part about this map. These rocks are so hard to kill. You don't want to really invest a lot of minerals into lings this early in the map, maybe 2 or 3 for map control, but it becomes so hard to defend the natural and the third when these rocks are in between. Of course, for the Protoss players, same exact thing. Very easy to take a third, although this isn't much of a problem given the fact that Protoss units are stronger in general. 3-base Protoss on this map can become very hard. The hard part is taking a fourth for the Zerg players because you're expanding towards your opponent's bases, which is not something you really feel safe doing as a Zerg player. But TLO needs to clean this up rather soon. He's ahead in supply, 65 to 41. Gonna go ahead and send in a few roaches. Nice little micro there by TLO, pulling back the weakened roach. Cannons are gonna go down, but at what cost? Is TLO really that far behind? Harvester advantage is 33 drones for TLO, 41 probes for the Protoss. The Protoss is actually getting +1 on his forge. We do see the Stalker going to go ahead and try to kill the supply depot. That supply depot going to go down rather quickly. But TLO did a pretty good job of holding this off. He's ahead in supply. Now, these roaches, they're good. Of course, the roaches are good. Now, is he going to go ahead and make more roaches and try to go for a follow-up timing? Or is he going to play a little bit more safe, even though he's going to be playing a little bit from behind, I would say, and go ahead and just expand? Actually, I take that back. He's not playing from behind. He's on a natural expansion. He's not playing behind at all. Third on its way for TLO. Meanwhile, in the base of Tails, we do see 6 gateways being added for the Protoss player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a Twilight. So my guess was pretty accurate, guys. I think this is definitely going to be a blink follow-up from Tails, and I don't blame him at all. When you do this kind of damage to your opponent, when you're denying a natural expansion for this long, going for a 2-base timing is so smart. When a Zerg is pinned on 2 bases, you can just go for a 2-base timing. I think he's even going to go ahead and wall this off. Looks like at this point he's just going to start his transitioning these gateways into warp gates. Is TLO going to be prepared for this? TLO at this point is just going to make more drones. Natural is on its way. Does he have a layer? Yes, he does. And there is the evolution chamber. Now, the best way to deal with this, in my opinion, is getting roaches. He's going to go ahead and get roach speed as well. And maybe even infestors. It's going to be very hard to squeeze in infestors. I don't think his economy is that established. But when you have roach infestor, blink stalkers are pretty much negated for that specific timing. A robotics facility on its way right now for Tails. Tails is now up to a bunch of stalkers, 10 stalkers, 12 stalkers actually to be in fact, and +2 is going to be finished here rather soon. So he's definitely looking to be going for that +2 blink stalker timing. TLO very much on top of this. Sends in the Overseer. Did he see the Twilight Council? Yes, he does. TLO knows exactly what's going on. Now, is he going to prepare in time? 4 roaches on the way for TLO. Getting his +1 missile attacks for his roaches. Might want to get a bunch more roaches for the Zerg player. And this is going to be so important. If TLO can hold this, I think he has a great chance of winning the game. He's way ahead in supply. 121 supply to 82 of Tails. Tails even going to go ahead and get an Observer and a Warp Prism. So this Warp Prism is going to be so important. If TLO can even target it down with the Queens, that would be so good. Just cutting out reinforcements. Because take note, there's no proxy pylons on the map at all. The Warp Prism is pretty much going to play as a pylon here from Tails. Tails is even going to move across the map right now. He's supply blocked 92, 133 for TLO. TLO going to go ahead and get started on Burrow. But there is detection in this army for Tails. He did, in fact, go ahead and make the Observer. This is all going to come down to the positioning and the amount of units that TLO can get on the map. Tails being very aggressive right now with his Stalkers. Going to go ahead and pick off a few creep tumors. Of course, making TLO kind of in the dark. Not really going to have that much more vision on the map. Production tab shows additional roaches in production for TLO. 36 roaches. 3 Zerglings. Burrow on its way, as I mentioned before. And if Burrow can finish, it's going to be so helpful. But TLO actually is just going to engage into it. Looks like TLO picking off a bunch of Stalkers right now. Stalker's going to try to blink away against these roaches. Now, this is a great position from TLO. I love the fact that he went in. Now, is it going to be enough? Tails is doing a great job of blinking away the Stalkers. Warp Prism's still alive. He can go ahead and warp in additional Stalkers if he decides to. But TLO just has to defend. If he defends this, he is going to be in such a great position. At this point, Tails, it's going to be so hard for him to go ahead and pull back and take a third. TLO, on top of it, already has a Ling at the 3rd expansion. Sees there's no kind of expansion, but Tails needs to win this game right now, or it's going to be super hard. It looks like another engagement going to go down. Roach is going to move forward, focusing down the Zealots, of course, not the AoE damage dealers. And Tails, 92 supply, 150 supply for TLO. And I think TLO can do it. I think TLO has done it. The reason why I say this is Burrow is finished. He's making more roaches. His economy is pretty good. 59 drones out for TLO. That is not a lot of stalkers. If you look at the units count, 42 roaches against 27 stalkers. Blink is pretty good, but I think when you have this many roaches, it becomes very hard. TLO just going to move into this army of tails. And is TLO going to start the comeback, guys? Currently down 2-0 in this best of 7. I think this is very likely that it's going to be a win for TLO. More roaches in production. Tails moving forward again. 161 supply for the Zerg. 114 from Tails. Tails is not... Man, I mean, does he expand? Does he just continue with this all in? He's kind of put in a position where he has to just all in. If he expands now, it's going to be very bad. I honestly think if TLO just makes more roaches, it's going to become very hard. It looks like a little bit of a warp in here of Zealot's going to try to happen here in the natural and the third of TLO. It's going to get fixed rather soon. But yeah, I mean, it's it's looking very hard for TLO to lose this game, and it looks like Tails is not even going to expand. He's just going to move across the map again. +2 is done. It's been done for a while, so that's helping tremendously against us. Upgrades for TLO 1-1. Looks like Tails going to engage again, losing 3-4 stalkers is the Protoss player. Infestation put on its way. Once the infestors hit the map, I think just TLO is going to seal the deal, and he's actually going to blink forward, and TLO picking off even more stalkers right now from Tails. Not looking good at all for the Protoss player. 94 supply compared to the 187. More roaches in production. Still TLO on top of this does not see a third expansion. +3 on its way right now for these blink stalkers of Tails. I love that contaminate onto the robotics facility, but Overseer goes down, but you know what, he cannot produce an immortal for quite some time. Alright, now TLO, what is TLO gonna do? I would put my money on that he's going to go ahead and just try to go kill Tails. He just has so many roaches, man. That's 59 roaches against 21 stalkers. War Prism's not going to do anything at this point in the game. Tails is kind of just holding back in his natural, really trying to find the best time to go ahead and expand. TLO going to go ahead and poke into the third. Not really going to see anything at this point, but Tails, can he expand with this Blink Stalker Immortal composition? Maybe he can if TLO is just strictly focusing on roaches, but once the infestors come out, once pathogen glands is done, it's going to be very hard. And the supply count pretty much tells the tale at this point, guys. 196 supply to 110. Now it's going to be actually 132. +3 almost completed now for Tails. Tails looks like he's going to go ahead and posture to take that third burrowed roach in position for TLO. He's not going to be able to build the Nexus. No. Nexus, no. Okay, so TLO, in fact, is going to kill the probe. Very nice move by TLO. So creative and so smart. You don't really see a lot of players do that. That's just really a great way of thinking. And TLO is just going to go into it, man. Moving forward, roaches focusing down a lot of these units. Immortal going to go down right now. Force fields were up by Tails. That is not going to be so helpful. He's going to lose all of these gas-heavy units, and Tails does not have a lot. He's blinking to the best of his ability. But TLO can just remax 172 supply, going to remax very shortly here on roaches. Is going to be TLO. Immortals still in production. And the build that Tails went for, it's like super all in. I mean, 7 gates +2 blink, no probes production, or no probes in production, becomes super hard to really fall back and take a third. And this is kind of what we're seeing now. Meanwhile, in fact, TLO did take a fourth. So his economy is just so much better than Tails at this point. Creep spread is very nicely being spread across the map in that left position of Ohana. And there it is. Roaches and infestors going to move in again. They're not going to spot the observer. The observer, in fact, is going to spot the roaches and the infestors. Force field's going down. Even going to go ahead and get a few cannons. But that is a lot of units. He does have a few immortals in the composition for Tails. A lot of stalkers remaining as well. But TLO can pretty much defend, and this is kind of the position he was put in the last game. He didn't really capitalize on his advantage. It looks like he will do it this time. 103 down. Supply is for Tails. Looks like going to burrow under the roaches.